Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. It's the podcast where we have digital discussions in the worlds of social media, TV, film, sports, pop culture, everything. We talk about it all depending on the guest. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, you know me as PD Beats, and my guest is an actress who does the voice of Tilly in Red Dead Redemption 2. We're with Meeya Davis. Meeya, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Whether you're, a voiceover, you do voiceovers, you're an actress, you're a singer, a writer, you're all storytellers. When did you decide that you want to be a storyteller?
I think I got my bug. I think the bug bit me when I was in high school. And I cultivated that with plays in high school. And I had an amazing drama teacher who taught amazingly. And we have people all over the planet that do it from her. But I got the bug in high school. That's when I got bit by the acting bug. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I mentioned, we talked about before, busy time. The acting life is, it's the hustle life, right? Like auditioning, always on the grind. But when you get that role that you really want, there's no other feeling, I bet.
No, it's not. It's kind of euphoric. Mm-hmm. Because you work so hard and then you get the one that you're supposed to get. Because there's been plenty where I wanted to get them and I didn't. But then when I get the ones that I do get, I'm like, oh, and this is why I was turned down for those other ones. It makes sense. So, yeah.
And we mentioned, you've been in some TV shows and some films. You were in the last season of Orange is the New Black. But we also mentioned, the voice of Tilly, the voice acting. Talk a little bit about the differences between kind of going in, doing kind of the voices for whether it's an animated show or a video game, rather than being on screen. What do you like about the two different types of jobs? Is there much difference between them? Talk about them a little bit.
Well, actually, for Red Dead, we were doing performance capture, which we did get in the booth, afterwards for ADR and other things. But with the scenes that you see us doing, we were on a sound stage in, we call them scuba suits, in our suits, camera in face, cameras all around us, and acting out scenes as if you're in a movie or on a play or in a commercial. And then afterwards we would do the voice acting. So that was the beauty of doing Red Dead, because it was oh, we can really act with each other, moment to moment communication with the other actor. But voiceover acting, voiceovers for commercials and stuff like that, it can get a little weird. I've done a couple of voiceovers because you have the big thing and you're in the booth by yourself and you have the headphones on and you can see the people the producers and the director outside of the screen and you're just kind of talking. So it can get a little okay, redundant, and you can kind of get off track. I certainly have ADD where I'm just okay, this is boring. When can I interact with somebody? So the beauty about being Tilly was I actually got to interact with Arthur, and I got to interact with Susan Grimshaw and John Marston, and everyone was there. So we got to act with each other, which was amazing.
Is that a misconception about the video game industry now, where you're not just lending your voice, you're actually going in those scuba suits? Do you think a lot of people know that you are doing that?
I think it's a new medium that they're trying to create more from. I do know, with Grand Theft, you're not in any suit. You're actually in the booth and doing a voiceover. But I think it gives the actor a little bit of a challenge and a little bit of this is a real job. Not that any other voiceover is not a real job, but Blood, Sweat, Tears was going into creating Red Dead Redemption, literally. Yeah, so it was the actual actor being an actor on stage, on the sound stage.
Now I see a lot of people do interviews and they're asked how did you get the role, right? And I always find it kind of, I find that kind of a bit odd to ask, because people know how you get the role, right? You audition for it, right? But yeah. Is there any tidbits or any cool stories in regards to that, kind of gravy on the mashed potatoes and bonus kind of stories about how you landed Tilly?
Okay, so
Oh, there is. It sounds like there is.
Rockstar is really good at like zip, throwaway key. So I went in not knowing what it was. I went in just for a commercial audition, I thought, which is like, okay, sure. I go in and I do like a script of something that wasn't Tilly, had no names, no nothing. I wasn't giving any premise. I was just giving kind of like notes about like, oh, make her more, I don't know, gentle or soft or whatever, you know, just like notes like that. And I did the script, which again had nothing to do with the video game, nothing Western, nothing old, nothing. I mean, nothing. And then I thought I did a good job. And I left. And it was kind of like, okay, you leave it in the room as an actor, you go home and have a bite to eat or whatever. So I didn't know that this is what I was booking. And then I didn't know that like it was going to be this big, you know? Even during shooting it, I was just like, I don't play video games. I only played this video. I only played this video game. But yeah, I didn't know. I just didn't know. And then once it was released, I was like, oh, this is what we were doing? Okay, that's lit. Like, oh, snap. I'm in a video game, in one of the biggest video games. Like, that's crazy. So I had no idea going into my audition what I was doing.
That's all that is pretty cool. That is a cool story. Because sometimes I've asked people like when I did my show in the early days, I'd be like, "How'd you get the role?" They'd be like, "I auditioned for it." And I'm like, "Cool." You know what I mean? So it was like, well, that was a waste of a question.
No, that's a good question because it's not all the same. Some people don't audition; they just get called up to do it.
Well,
so.
Sometimes you get I auditioned for this role, but they wanted to go with this guy, but they liked me so much, so they gave me this role.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best one was How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah.
But I had Joe Neves. He was also on Stuck in the Middle on Disney Channel, but he was talking about how he went in just for like a cop scene, just like for one episode, and he actually like missed his audition or something, and then they said, actually, you know, we have a bartender scene that you might be good for it if you want to stick around, and like the casting people will come in and you can read for it. He's like, sure.
It's the beauty of it. Like, you just don't know what's yours. You really don't know what is yours. And then when you get it, it's amazing. Yeah.
So we got to talk about conventions. We got to talk about the cons, the Comic-Cons, and all those like expos, right? Because you've done one, right?
No, I haven't done any yet.
You have done. So hopefully you will soon.
I hear that they're amazing.
Because there's also so many. There's so many of them.
Yes.
Which is good for people like yourself who want to get into the conventions because there's more opportunities, right? So what do you kind of think of that, though? You were a star on a big hit video game, and there are these conventions where you can go and talk about your experiences and meet fans like that, and they're everywhere now.
Yeah. I think the fans that we've had from the video game have just been utterly amazing. Like, and they're so sweet and generous with their compliments, and like they send gifts to us. I got like some candy from somebody that was handmade. You know what I mean? Like, just they're so generous. And then to hear like people's stories of people battling depression and different type of mental illnesses and just things that people are going through, and how the game that we created can give them the escape of kind of stepping out of their reality and just having time to themselves and like zoning out to somewhere else, that they're in control of something. And I hear that from my castmates all the time that go to cons. They're like, oh my God, these fans are like so heart-wrenching. And us as actors, we love that like feeling type of thing. So I can't wait to go to one or like a couple or a million, but like I'm always just so happy for my castmates who go. And like when people meet Arthur, who was Roger Clark, and he's an amazing person anyway, but like the excitement of people meeting someone that they've connected to for, I think, what is it, like 80 something hours of the game? I don't even know how long it actually is, but like you're playing with this person and then you meet that person in real life and he has the same characteristics as the character that you love. I mean, it's intense in a good way, I think. And I'm really excited to partake in that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Social media has become a big part of, the acting world, but the video game world as well, with all the streamers and everything, and it's insane. I just saw, and then on Twitter that Ninja, the Fortnite streamer,
Yes.
he got a deal with Adidas, which is
Are you
insane.
serious?
Yes. So it's just
amazing.
it's awesome, but it's like crazy, and it's like. What do you kind of think from your perspective, your experiences about social media's impact? Because we all know it's a double-edged sword, but like, how has it been treating Meeya Davis?
It's been treating me great. I mean, I know how to unplug it though. I taught myself how to do that. Plus, I come from the generation where it was like just becoming a thing. I'm in the cusp of like dial-up computers, and then like on the phone I can do everything. Like that's where I fit, so I know how it doesn't have to be my life, but I can use it to enhance my life, you know what I mean? So it's been great for me. I haven't had any bad experiences with social media, because I think it's a tool that can be used for like being social, but also for business. And yeah, I haven't had any bad experiences.
Oh, absolutely. I always like. So you don't know this, but like the show, I've been doing this show for 3 years, and it kind of changed in terms of the kind of structure and the kind of things that we were talking about, because my background was in like sports marketing. So it started off, talking to like sports media about social media, but then like kind of people that just worked in digital media or actors would come on to talk about their experience with social media, and it was more panels. But the one thing that I never want to kind of change from this show is kind of the learning experiences as well. Like people coming on the show and learning from my guests. So I always kind of ask these questions. So one, the first question is kind of about like misconceptions of the industries. So what are some from your experiences, misconceptions of kind of the entertainment industry? There's the obvious ones where people think that, every actor who's on a big show is, making so much money and they're well-to-do, or they don't have to get another job. Yeah. Or like, this Tilly, the Tilly on Red Dead Redemption, like I don't know her. This must have been like her first job ever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe you could relate to those, but is there anything else too?
Misconception. Like you said, I think when people think like, a big movie stars all of a sudden, or big TV stars, like, oh, this is like, they just got it. Instead of like, no, this person has been grinding for years and years and years. And you've actually seen them at other things, but didn't know it was them because they weren't in the main spotlight. Like, I think that's a big misconception that people think of like, oh, I just got here. Like, I just stumbled upon it. And people are like, oh, they ask me questions like, how did you get into it? And what was your drive and everything like that? And I'm like, it takes dedication. It takes an energy that you gotta leave it sometimes. And when I'm home, I'm home. I'm not the actor. I'm just Meeya, And I think another misconception is people think you're always on. Like, I'm always on my acting stuff. No. When I'm cooking a meal at home, I'm just me. Like, I'm just being normal. Another one is definitely the money. Mm-hmm. Definitely the money part. You might get a show that does good money, but then you might not. And that's just the reality of the art. And we do it because we love it. Some people do it for money, but you do it because you love it.
And what some advice do you have for people that kind of want to do the things that you're doing, kind of getting into acting? I mean, I know it's a lot. Maybe you don't, because it makes more competition, but it's like if people...
No competition. Because people can't bring what I bring, and I can't bring what somebody else brings. And I think that's beautiful. There's so much room for everybody, really. Like, people think that it's, if I see somebody at the audition, like, I have to compete with her. Like, no, sis doesn't do what I do. But you also have to have a drive, and you have to know. I was taught by my drama teacher, I only have a plan A. If I have a plan B, I won't give 100% to my plan A. And my plan A was always acting. Now, you can have a plan A and then like 1A, 2A, 3A, which is like survival jobs. But plan A is become an actress, become a working actor, doing work that you love, doing things that you love. So you have to strive for excellence, and not excellence in a perfection way, but excellence in I'm doing my best work every time I do something, every time I audition, every time I book something, every time I meet somebody, I'm doing my best work that no one can take away from you or diminish. You know, if you know that it's good for you, then it's good. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, Meeya, we will wrap up, but thank you so much for coming on Popternative.
Thank you. Follow me, guys.
Yeah, where can people follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Meeya Davis, MEeyaDavis.
That is awesome. Well, seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I do wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Like our episodes, leave a subscription if you can, subscribe. And until next time, this is Meeya Davis and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.